podcast. I'm Edric, your host, and my producer is my son, Jordan Williams, and we're going to be talking to you about a lot of things. We haven't decided what the topics will be. In fact, we want your input. What do you want to talk about? I'm in real estate, and there's a lot of interesting things to talk about in real estate, so that'll be the basis of our conversations, but we want to talk about life in general. We want to talk about what you're facing in your lives and what makes your life interesting so that we can share it with our listeners. We hope you'll tune in. We also have some cool beats for you to listen to. I just say cool beats. Jordan's looking at me because I said cool beats and I sounded like an old dad. But that's okay. You'll get different points of view from different generations on one show. So keep listening. And I think the first topic we should talk about is probably what is going on right now here in April 2020, and that's COVID-19 and how it's affected our society as we know it. So let's talk about it when we come back. Welcome back, guys. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last month and a half, then you would know that COVID-19 has made the headlines, and it is just growing every day. Right now, stats are showing almost 1 million confirmed cases in the United States, over 2.5 million in the world. Back in the United States, we have pushing 50,000 deaths. The question is, what is your take on it? There are a lot of illnesses. There are a lot of things that people have endured in the nation, in the world, that are way more deadly. But I think what makes this epidemic, this pandemic, so much more of a headliner is because we don't know how to stop it, and it's only going to get worse, and it's affecting everyone despite what you're seeing in the media, more importantly and more the older generations, but it's also affecting everyone any way you look at it. What do you think, Jordan? What are your colleagues saying about COVID? Are you guys afraid of it? Are you afraid to go be social? Are you irritated because you can't do stuff?
Yeah, I feel like also has like the cutoff or the curfew also is cuts off at like maybe 6 when we have to all be home. So that's what a different change now, and also it changes what's happening in the actual work world, but it's happening to the kids' worlds too for school, because school has been shut down for how long? 2 months?
For a while, for a few weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so that's affecting almost everybody now, but they said they were going to be coming back to school the last 2 weeks, I think. So
yeah, but I mean, come on, you're 17, and I wish I'm not going to say I wish. If something were to happen when I was in high school and they said you don't have to go to school for the rest of the year, I would have been ecstatic. You can't sit here and be like, oh man, I don't have to go to school. This is so terrible. Is that how it is? Or maybe that's how it started. Has it changed since then?
Yeah, it's definitely changed. At first I was like, hooray. Now I'm just bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
Because I ain't got nothing to do, basically.
Yeah.
Everything's closed.
So how do you think you'll look back over this? So, 10 years from now, how will you look back over because you're a junior this year, so you got one more year left in high school. How do you think you'll look over it? How do you think people who are seniors now will look back over it and not being able to go through the formal process of
I think it sucks. Hopefully next time maybe this happens, the pandemic happens, maybe we'll have already something, so not as much people have died, so we're more prepared maybe next time that happens. Because I base this as a free year basically to me. Because after this, they can't drop me a grade, but maybe they can do it for 2 seniors, because if they have just failing grades. But for me, this is basically just a passing. Every grade that just got affected was basically senior, and all grades are going up or rising.
Gotcha. Well, it's I hope we don't have to deal with a pandemic in our lifetime again. I think the last one that I know of, and I'm not a history buff, but the Spanish flu was over 100 years ago, and we'll never say never. There's always medical creations or inventions that prolong life. So maybe we will live to see 200 and deal with another pandemic. One interesting note, I was actually looking on my computer on Google and trying to figure out what does COVID-19 stand for, because, unlike Donald Trump's aide, I can't remember her name right now, but she said something like, "This isn't COVID-1, this is COVID-19," indicating, or I guess she was basically suggesting that there were 18 other forms of COVID, and that's not what it means.
What isn't it? Doesn't it mean that's the year, right? It's just the year.
Yes, that's exactly what it means. COVID. So the CO stands for corona, and then vid is for virus. So coronavirus and 19 for the year. That's what it addresses. In case you were wondering, by the way, that is brought to you by Google. Just a quick Google. But at any rate, I think that, you know, you hear the slogan a lot about life will never be the same as we know it. Is that the end of that?
We keep going.
Oh, okay. We hear the saying that life will never be the same, or it'll never, you know, things will never exist as they have. I think that's a good thing in so many respects. What this thing is brought to light is that we take the smallest things for granted, number one. Number two, we're probably not as clean as we think we are, because the spread is just basic, can be prevented from basic hygiene. And so it's really awakened my sense of hygiene and interacting with people. One thing I can't do is not hang around people and not talk to people. I don't go out in public as much as I did before, but being around family and really close friends is just something, it's a risk that I take on, but you know, I keep my 6 foot distance, but I would go crazy if I had to sit in the house for over a month and not engage with somebody. One positive thing is I've always wanted to see Game of Thrones, but I am not patient enough to sit still to figure out the plot, and so I always was checking out episodes out of order. So this is giving me a chance to start in season 1 and on episode 1, and I'm now on season 2. And let me tell you, all the rave reviews that existed when this show came out years ago are all true. It's a great show. I can't remember characters' names, but I'm falling in love with different characters or hating other characters, and I think it's great cinematography. And I've also, despite my better conscience, have partook of the Tiger King. Jordan, did you watch Tiger King? Any of your friends watch Tiger King? So that is not for you. What have you been doing in your spare time besides playing video games?
That's basically it. Just video games.
What video games are you playing?
GTA. That's basically the biggest one.
Okay. What? So tell the listeners what GTA is. Because some people are listening that don't play video games, believe it or not.
But everybody knows what GTA is.
Well, what is it?
It's like Grand Theft Auto.
Okay. So Grand Theft Auto came out like a long time ago. Is this like the newest?
Yeah, this is new.
version?
There's like 6 ones.
Okay.
There's like 6 GTAs.
What's your take on GTA? Is it
I mean, it's pretty buggy, but it's actually pretty fun though. It's really fun, especially when you got people to play with.
What makes it so fun?
I don't know. You get the ability to kill people and I mean,
And not go to prison?
Yeah, not go to prison.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fun though, because you can't really do it in real life.
So you can interact with friends on the game,
Yeah, you can call them on their phone.
and you all are characters that you actually create.
Yeah.
You create these characters. Are you guys playing against each other, or are you actually teamed up to play against?
I mean, it just depends what we're doing.
Okay. And who's your character?
Some short black dude.
Some short black dude. And what is his? Is there an agenda? What's the agenda? How do you know you have succeeded in the game?
I mean, you could beat the store mission, and then you can also just get a bunch of money and just buy everything.
So So the more money you get, so you rob people, you do whatever you need
Yeah,
to
you do
do.
missions and stuff. Yeah.
You get money, you kill people, whatever, and you get this money so you can buy more stuff, which allows you to have more fun on the game.
Or until somebody like mods the game and like gives you a bunch of money, and then you just can't play anymore.
Gotcha. All right.
But that's basically it.
Well, folks, we're just starting. When we come back, let's talk about what you think about politics. Should we talk about politics?
No.
I don't want to talk about politics, but people want to talk about politics. But at least the listeners can know how much we don't know about politics. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. we're back. And before we went to the break, we were talking about being president of the United States and whether it's worth having that pressure. The president makes $400,000 a year. That's a lot of money by comparison to a general job.
Well, I feel like you could probably make more money though.
Yeah, I think it's post being president, because here's the thing. For Obama, $400,000 a year is probably a lot of money, considering he was a congressman or he was a senator before he became president. He was a civil servant. But for Donald Trump, who is a billionaire, that's not a lot of money. That's a drop in the bucket. Here's why I think what the benefit is to Donald Trump, a billionaire, the access to power. And for Obama now, post-presidential, post being in that position, now he is making money hand over fist, I'm sure, by basically being a celebrity. That's what I think being in government has entitled people or enabled them to do. And it's not a bad thing. It's a part of free enterprise, right? So if you're president and people like you,
you'll build your own image.
Right. When you come out of office, people will pay you whatever you ask for to come speak at engagements, to endorse certain things. And you're free to do it because you are a private citizen again. So I think that's definitely a good thing from the financial standpoint. But here's what I think we're missing today in politics: that genuine care and interest in seeing other people win, seeing everybody have that fair opportunity to do things that they otherwise couldn't have done on their own. I mean, I look back over my life, being a business owner myself. 20 years ago, you couldn't tell me that I would be able to start a business and be successful at it and grow from nothing to where I am today. I think part of the reason why I've been able to do that is because we live in a country that allows free enterprise and allows people to take risk. And when they do well, they get the benefits of doing well. So I do think that should be protected in our country. Guys, I want to talk to you about an app that I recently started playing with. It's called Turo. If you haven't heard of it, the best way I can explain it to you without using a whole segment is Turo is like Airbnb for cars. And so if you own automobiles, you can actually share your automobiles, lease them out, rent them out on a short-term basis, and make money off of those vehicles. And this is phenomenal for someone like me who is a car fanatic. I have way more cars than what I need, way more vehicles than what I need. And so I thought I'll try it out to try to offset my expenses of owning these vehicles. And there's some good and some bad. But the best part about it is the fact that my goal is always to get as close to zero as possible as far as ownership cost of the vehicle. And you go on the app, it's Turo, Turo. You go on the app, you register, you can look at vehicles that are near you, what the daily rates are for them, and you can rent that vehicle from the owner directly. And when we went to Spain, in fact, instead of leaving my vehicle parked in the long-term parking at the airport at a crazy amount of money per day, I put it on the app, I reassigned it to the area, and it rented about 4 of the 6 days we were gone. So instead of spending money to park it, I made money loaning it out. So the question is, okay, what about the liability? Turo actually adds insurance to the vehicle, and they cover the vehicle, and there's different policies that they have. Based off of which policy you choose, you get a certain percentage. So you can get 65% of the profit if you want the premium insurance, up to 85%, I believe it is 80 or 85% if you just want the basic insurance with a higher premium. But at any rate, I think it's great. We went to Miami, myself and my dad and my little brother and a friend, and we rented a Mercedes G-Wagon AMG. I've always loved that vehicle, but I never think I would be the owner of one because they're just too freaking expensive. But it was fun enough, and I got my fix by just renting it on this app. So would you rent your vehicle on an app like Turo? And if not, why not? Interested in getting your feedback and comments on that. Jordan, would you use an app like Turo to rent vehicles? Would you put your vehicle on it?
Mm-mm.
Why not?
I don't want people to touch my vehicles.
See, that's the thing. I am not emotionally attached to vehicles. I used to be when I was younger, but probably after 30, I was just like, I like a nice vehicle, but I'm not going to get so attached to it that it becomes my world.
But I feel like all my vehicles are probably I'm gonna have like I'm gonna do some stuff to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have like certain things on them that I don't want people to touch.
Well, yeah, that's the vehicle you don't rent out though. So like my '63 Chevy, when I start riding in that's not going to be on Toro.
It's not.
That's my vehicle.
You gonna let me drive it though?
Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, yeah, and it's not like a classic restored vehicle. It's just that I don't want to share it with anyone. That's kind of where I am with that, and I think that's why Mom gave me such a hard time when she got her convertible, because she was really upset when I wanted to throw it on Toro right away. But my whole thought was the quicker we could get it paid for, the quicker we can enjoy it, because we don't have to work as much to pay for it. But anyways, potato. To me, it's a machine. You can buy another one. I get what you're saying. You want to customize it. I'm not into customizing vehicles. I think it's a waste of money personally. I'd rather spend that money on traveling.
But you have done customizing them, right?
Have I?
Yeah.
No.
On the Mustang?
I bought that car. It was already, everything on it was factory. It was manufactured.
But I thought you were fixing them.
No. Oh, the 65.
Yeah, the 65.
I was restoring it. I wasn't customizing it. I was restoring it. There's a difference there.
I mean, you're putting the new parts on it though.
Yeah, but if I had kept that car, I wouldn't share it. I wouldn't do ride sharing or put it on where people can rent it, because they're not going to take care of it like I am. So a vehicle that's hard to replace, I get that, but a modern vehicle that, you can buy the parts from Amazon almost, and it's really easy to fix. It's going to get normal wear and tear. It's going to get miles on it. And in another segment, we'll talk about should you buy new cars versus old cars, the benefits of leasing versus buying. But in my eyes, in my opinion, if you take the time and really screen who you're dealing with, it could be a good thing. When we come back, we will talk about, what are we going to talk about when we come back? I forgot.
No, we can stop recording.
So a lot of people are freaking out with COVID-19 going on. Being in real estate, they're saying, well, I'll just wait until things get better. And, here's the deal. I'm just going to say it up front. You got to have somewhere to live. Real estate prices aren't getting any lower, and interest rates aren't getting any lower either. So you might as well buy when you can. Real estate, investing in real estate, owning real estate, in my opinion, IMO, is the best thing that you can ever do, because it can establish wealth and give you access to other forms of wealth, give you other forms of knowledge that you wouldn't otherwise have. My whole story started with buying my first house, and here we are 15 plus years later, and I own several investment properties, a real estate company, a property management company, and it all started from buying that first piece of real estate. So my advice to you in 2020 is to reevaluate maybe what you're buying. Real estate is getting really expensive. People are getting qualified for astronomical amounts. One of our clients the other day, he's buying his first time house. He got pre-qualified for like $250,000. Now this is a kid by all respects, early 20s, and he's married, no kids. He wanted to go look at $250,000 houses, which in our area is 2,000 plus square feet, 3 plus bedrooms, 2 plus baths, the white picket fence and all that good stuff. My advice to him was, don't spend what you qualify for, spend what you can afford, but more importantly, spend what somebody's willing to rent down the road that has some equity. And that's my advice to you if you're considering buying. Maybe buy under what you need. So if you qualify for $250,000, maybe you should be looking at what can I get for $150,000, and what will it rent for? Will it cash flow? and allow that property to pay for your next property. It's sort of like if you've ever watched the show Property Ladder. You go from a cheaper property to a more expensive property and so on and so forth. The equity in the property before that can make or break you. So if you buy your dream home as your first home, you could be what we call house poor. However, if you buy a property, in that example, that's $150,000, that's worth maybe $190,000, put a little sweat equity into it. You can go to the bank, borrow some cash, use that cash as a down payment on the next property, and continue to do that over and over again until you've accumulated several pieces of real estate that can augment, if not basically cover your retirement. So just think about that, but definitely don't get out of the game because of what's going on in the world. There will always be a reason that the haters will say not to buy, but you just need to shake them off, brush them off, and go and do your thing. Anyways, I hope this was a good first inaugural show. How do you think it went, Jordan?
I think it did good.
Yeah, I think it's going to get better as we get more comfortable in what we're doing. We've been going at it for a couple weeks now, trying to get all the technical stuff figured out. So now that we have that done and you can actually hear us, we'll get better at what we're saying. So stay tuned and let us know. Here's what I want to know. What should we name the show? What do you want us to talk about? What questions do you have specifically in real estate? I think we'll have a segment about real estate in each episode. And what are your thoughts about the show and some of the segments we did cover? So anyways, have a good week or day or whenever until we come back next time, and we will talk to you, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.